Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm Rabbi Rebecca Epstein. I'm pleased to be back for my second Shabbat here at West End Temple. So I see some new faces that I haven't seen before, so welcome. And welcome to our folks that I've met already before, and I'm excited to keep celebrating Shabbat together. So this Shabbat, we are so pleased that Pam and Lloyd Letterman are here. There they are. And they are celebrating their 23rd anniversary on the 12th. Is that right? Okay. So they are here to light our Shabbat candles. So I'd like to invite them up now, and we're going to begin on page 3.
Is going to recite the...
Go ahead. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Mazel tov to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Great to see you. Thank you. So I have a story for us on the theme of journeys. And we have some actors who want to help with the story. So, once upon a time, a long, long, long time ago, in Tangiers, there was a Jewish widow with 10 children. And the oldest was named Yosef. And Yosef worked hard in his family to bring in a little bit of money. And every week, Joseph loved to celebrate Shabbat with his family. And he would work a little extra harder on Friday to make a little extra money to be able to bring home a special meal for Shabbat. And Friday night was a special time in their home. They would light the candles, they would drink the wine, they would say the motzi and have some challah, and they would sing to welcome the Sabbath bride. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Well, one day, a stranger arrived to the house carrying an envelope, and Joseph's mother opened the envelope, and her children all looked at her face because she looked so surprised. And Yosef said to his mother, "Mother, what's in the letter?" And his mother said, "You wouldn't believe this, but our uncle in Cairo has passed away and left us a sum of money." And then she looked sad. And Joseph said, "Why do you look sad, Mother?" And she said, "Because I can't think of how I would get to Cairo. I can't leave you 10 children here." And Joseph, who was just 10 years old, said, "I will go." And his mother said, "How are you going to do that? There are wild animals in the desert. You will get attacked." And Joseph said, "I have faith in God, and I will go." And his mother said, "But how are you going to celebrate Shabbat in the desert? Because the caravan isn't going to stop." And Joseph said, "How about we talk to the caravan leader?" And so they came to the caravan leader and they said, "Joseph here wants to go from Tangiers to Cairo, but he needs to stop on the Sabbath because he won't travel on the Sabbath. And the caravan leader said, "Nope, I don't think so." And his mother said, "How about if I give you my gold wedding ring, and for that extra sum, you will stop in the desert on Shabbat?" And the caravan leader agreed. And so Joseph got aboard the caravan, and he brought with him a pouch of candles and a little bit of wine and a challah. And he boarded the caravan. And as the caravan was traveling across the desert, it got to be Friday afternoon, and the caravan showed no sign of stopping. And Joseph said, "Excuse me, we had a deal that you were going to stop on the Sabbath. And my mother gave you her ring for an extra payment." And the caravan leader laughed and said, "We are not stopping. There are wild animals in this desert." And so Joseph said, "I will get off." And the caravan leader said, "You will get off and sit in this desert?" And Joseph said, "I will get off." And he stopped in the desert. And as nightfall approached, Joseph lit the candles, and he made the blessing for the wine and the blessing for the challah. And he sang, "Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela." And he prayed that the Sabbath queen would protect him. And just then, Joseph saw in the distance a lion running towards him. And he was frightened. But as the lion came closer and closer and closer, he saw that the lion's eyes were kind. And he realized that the lion was sent by the Sabbath queen to protect him. And so they sat there for Shabbat through Saturday, saying prayers and doing all the blessings and studying Torah. And on Saturday night, when Shabbat ended, they made Havdalah. And Joseph got on top of the lion, and the lion carried him through the desert. And at one point, they passed the caravan, and the lion growled at the caravan leader, and the caravan leader recognized Joseph, and the caravan leader gave him the golden ring back. And then they made it all the way to Cairo, and Joseph presented the letter to the bank in Cairo and collected the inheritance from his uncle. And he got back on the lion and traversed the journey back to Tangiers. And when they arrived at their family's home, his brothers and sisters could not believe that a lion was at their home. And Joseph gave the lion a big hug, and he nuzzled his nose on the lion's nose. And then the lion went off, and he never saw him again. And from then on, every single week, Joseph would tell his brothers and sisters the story of the lion that was sent by the Sabbath queen. So we turn now to Lecha Dodi to welcome the Sabbath bride, and we are on page 20. So we'll be singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And before the 9th verse, we're going to stand and we'll turn towards the door to symbolically let in the Sabbath bride. You can bow if you wish as she enters. And then turn back around to sing Lecha Dodi again. Hold on, let me get the note. Oh, it's lower than we did. I think that's a, there we go. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת, ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נעשוך סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, כי תתעוררי כי באורך, אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני, עלייך נגלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, אוי ושלום עטרת בלגן בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה, and I invite everyone to now acknowledge that the Neshama Yetera, the extra soul of the Sabbath, is really here with the arrival of the Shabbat Queen. And so I invite you to just turn to your neighbor, say hello, look in their eyes, see the Sabbath Queen that is there. Maybe meet someone new if you haven't already. Okay, we can go ahead and be seated. We continue with Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, which is on page 22.
Where is it? There it is. Yeah, that's good.
Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Lehagid baboker chasecha, ve'emunatcha baleilot, alei asor ve'alei navel, alei higayon bechinor. Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, Tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. We rise now for Chatzi Kaddish on page 26.
I need some tea.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך ירתי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, וחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמא, ויאמרו amen. Page 28. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach, le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach, le'olam va'ed. You may be seated as we turn to page 30. The Hebrew that we're using here is in the middle of this prayer, where about halfway down it says, Borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or. And we're singing, roll into dark, roll into light, remembering that God is with us in the changes that happen from darkness to light and lightness to dark and back again. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom, Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei we close our eyes or cover our eyes as we continue with Shema on page 34. Just taking some time to take some breaths and to come into listening to our inner voice, listening to the voices of those around us, listening to the voice of the universe. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ובלבתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, ושמתם מאוד על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Page 39. We read together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. We continue with our People's Song for Freedom on page 40. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha be'adar b'kodesh. Tehilot, Osei, Feled, Nora, Tehilot, Osei, Feled, Malachutecha ra'u banecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Ze'eli anu ve'amru. Adonai Yimlo Le'olam Va'ed. Adonai
שנאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Shmo.
גאל ישראל.
Amen.
Did we actually do Yismachu?
We continue with Yismachu on page 44.
We almost cut Yismachu because I'm recovering from a sinus infection. I'm fine. I went to the doctor. But we almost cut it. But I really want to sing it. It's a fun song. Yismachu is on page 44. Let's wait. What key we're doing this in?
Whatever you want.
Yes. Yismachu v'malechutecha shomrei Shabbat v'korei onig Shabbat. Yismachu v'malechutecha shomrei Shabbat v'korei onig Shabbat. Mekadashei Shavi Shabbat Kulam Yismehu V'tangumitu Mecha Shabbat Yismehu V'malechutecha Shomrei Shabbat V'korei Onig Shabbat Yismehu V'malechutecha Shomrei Shabbat v'korei onig Shabbat. V'hashvi ratzita bo v'kidash Shabbat. Chemdad yamim oto karata Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomrei Shabbat v'korei onig Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomrei Shabbat v'korei onig Shabbat. Zecher l'masei v'reishit Shabbat. Zecher l'masei v'reishit Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomrei Shabbat v'korei onig Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomrei Shabbat v'korei onig Shabbat.
We turn now to the Amidah on page 46. Please rise. page 50. Page 48. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'chonei Hakol V'zocher Chatzei Avot V'imahot U'mei Bigula Livnei Bneihem Leman Shemo B'Ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye Mitim Atara Lehoshia Morid Hatal Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechaye Hakom Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umidom Elach Melech Memit Umechaye Umatzmiach Yeshua V'neman Ata L'chayot Mitim Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei HaMetim. May be seated. So we take some time now in the context of our Amidah, our prayers that come from us as individuals and as a community. We take some time now, as it is in every Amidah, to share words of gratitude, words of thanks. So if there is something that you would like to share that you are grateful for, we would love to hear it.
Oh, Stacy.
Stacy. Yay! Very good. Enjoy. Thank you. Yeah, Shauna.
Well, I just want to thank you for the book because I have a friend that's here and said that he is going to be learning to me when he gets here.
Amazing.
That's
Good.
wonderful.
That's great. Thank you. Yes, Richard.
One of my granddaughters had her 14th birthday yesterday.
Mazel tov.
She sent a picture, and she was magnificent. So it brought tears to her eyes.
Wonderful. Mazel tov. Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
I'm so grateful that as dear friends and family here in Washington, I have no idea how much it means so much to me now. Helen and Arthur Vince.
Great. Helen and Arthur, welcome.
And since I'm at it, I'd also like to thank my beautiful girls, all three of them, for the support they've given me over this past year with COVID, with everything.
Thank you. Randy.
Grateful that my house didn't flood yesterday with all the rain.
Good. I'm
Amen.
glad too. Yeah. Good.
We have from chat, Arthur Umla says, grateful for the continued visit of my granddaughter and my 78th birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Arthur.
Oh, that's right.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Happy birthday. Happy early birthday. I will share, it is a brief story that it encapsulates all of the gratitude for this week, besides recovering from my slight illness. I've talked about my niece Abigail all the time. Today I was babysitting her in the morning. My mother had dropped off a package at the bottom of our stairs, so I had to go get it, and that meant leaving Abigail at the top of the stairs. So I kept eyesight with her the whole time, and we played a game where I turned around, red light, green light. But then I got to the bottom, started going up again. She disappears. I'm like, Abigail, wait, I need to be seeing you. I turn the corner to go back to the door. She's standing there holding the door open for me so that I don't have to open the door while I'm carrying the groceries. And she says, "Here you go." She's like 3 feet tall. She opens the door for me. She says, "Here you go," and then she closes it so gently behind her so that it makes no sound, and then she claps. She's just the best. I love her so much. That's my gratitude for this week. Heidi Meyer also says, "Grateful that my son finally graduated from college." Mazel
Mazel
tov,
tov.
Heidi. That's my thing. What about you?
Okay, that's great.
What's your
Wonderful.
gratitude?
I am grateful to be here. I'm grateful that my husband and family made it before Shabbat because there was a little question about that, but everyone got here, so that was great, and grateful to be here with all of you. And we turn to page 59. Let's read together. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. We take a moment to enter into silent prayer. We continue now with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service of the reading of the Torah. And I'd like to invite our president, Sherry Copeland, to open the Ark. And we turn to page 246. Please rise.
I'm going to sit to the side so I don't block the camera.
Okay. Should I help you? Yeah. Okay. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, le'amo Yisrael miYerushalayim. And this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it. Al Shloshad. Oh, whoops, I forgot one thing before we say the Shema. Are the kids coming? Okay. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Kadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Galul Adonai Iti ונרוממה שמו יחדיו על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם עומד. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם עומד. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם עומד. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם עומד. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים. So all of our kids that are under the age of B'nai Mitzvah, please come up. They will come. Oh, okay, take off the crowns first. Okay, now take off the yad. Yep, just put the yad here. This goes here. This is the breastplate. Okay, you have to hold that. Just go sit down and hold it. Okay, and I need one more pull here. Pull that off. Just pull. There you go. Okay, you can take that down.
Can I take that off?
Hmm?
This one?
Yeah. Give me 1 sec. I'll do it.
Now what are we
Yeah,
doing?
just go sit down with
Now
them.
what are we doing?
Sit down.
What are you doing?
I'm reading the Torah. Okay, everyone, you may be seated. So we are here at the end of the book of Numbers, in the very last parsha of the book of Numbers. It's a double parsha. It's called Matot Maseh. And we are going to hear just a little bit of the recap of the Israelites' journey all the way from Egypt to the Promised Land. They're at the gates of the Promised Land in this part of the Torah, and then all the way also through the next book of the Torah, Devarim, Deuteronomy. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that journey later and what it can teach us. And we're going to, as I said, be focusing on journeys in general. So in just a minute, I'm going to call up anybody who wants to have an aliyah to the Torah, who wants a blessing about some kind of journey in their life that they want to acknowledge. You don't have to tell us what it is, but just something that you want, some kind of, you want closeness to the Torah at this time to acknowledge a journey that you have gone on or that you're going on to. Maybe it's an actual trip. Maybe it's the first trip after a long time of not having any trips. Maybe it's more of an internal journey or some kind of life occasion that has happened. So think about that for a minute in terms of a journey that might bring you up to the Torah. So the Torah reading is going to be on page 1119 in the larger Torah books. And what we're going to do is we're going to read a little bit at the beginning of Parshat Maseh, and then we're going to actually read the very last sentence in the book of Numbers, so that we can say Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek, which we say when we finish the book of the any book of the Torah, to say, may you go from strength to strength. So there's a couple words in Hebrew that I want you to listen for in the Torah reading. One is you're going to hear the word Pesach and the word Mitzrayim. So the word Pesach is referring to Passover, the Passover sacrifice, and Mitzrayim is Egypt. And so it's very interesting to note that when the Israelites are recapping their whole journey, the Torah reminds us that they started out as slaves in Egypt, offering the Passover sacrifice. So that's the beginning of their journey. And it's so interesting to me because it really then goes on to list all of the 42 steps without very much detail, but it takes the time to remind us we came from slavery in Egypt, and that was the beginning. And now we're at the gates of the promised land. So we're always, I feel like in the Torah, in that headspace of we came from narrowness and we're going to expansiveness. So anybody who wants to come up for an aliyah to acknowledge a journey, please come on up. I have the words to the Torah blessings right up here. I will help you if you want. And it's time. The time is now.
I'm doing it.
You gonna do it?
Personal choices.
And it can be more than one person. Doesn't have to be.
I'm not special.
Sonia can come too. Okay, Stacy and Scott, really nice. Okay, if you want to hold on right here. Great. Let me just move this a little bit. And the Torah blessings can be found on page 250. We are reading from right here. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher rabanu mikol hamim. V'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Ele maseh v'nei Yisrael asher yatzu me'eretz Mitzrayim letzivotam b'yad Moshe ve'Aharon v'yichtov Moshe et motza'ehem lemas'ehem al pi Adonai ve'ele mas'ehem lemotza'ehem vayis'u me'Ramses b'chodesh harishon b'chamisha asar yom lachodesh harishon mimochorat hapesach yatzu v'nei Yisrael b'yad Ramah le'enei kol Mitzrayim. Ele hamitzvot vehamishpatim asher tziva Adonai b'yad Moshe el b'nei Yisrael b'arvot Moav al Yarden Yericho. Chazak chazak v'nitchazek. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nacharbanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natav b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And a special blessing for you who are on a journey. May be blessed in your journey. May the ups and downs of the journey bring you joy and challenge through which you can grow. And we ask for God's blessing on your journey. And we say together, Amen. Okay, thank you. You can go have a seat. At this time in our service, in the presence of the Torah, we are going to say prayers for healing for those in our lives who are in need of healing of body or mind or spirit. And this week what we've done is we have a pamphlet. I hope that people picked up from the table outside that has the names of those who we regularly pray for in this congregation. So as we sing, I invite you to pray for those in our congregation who are in need of healing by looking at their names and sending them healing energy. And if anybody would like to add a new name to our prayers this evening, please do so as my eyes meet yours. And Liv, any names from the chat?
Not that I've gotten. If people add names, we will surely include them after the prayer.
We hold all of them in our hearts as we turn to page 253 and pray Misha Beirach.
Misha Beirach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Beirach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And we add to our list of those for whom we are praying Amanda Brandes and Bernice Louie. And for all of them, we wish for a complete healing of body, of mind, and of spirit. We will now return the Torah to the ark and lift it and dress it before we do that. So I'm very pleased to welcome Richard Lipsman to lift our Torah. Please rise. So do you usually sit then Just
and
don't
I
feel
will
like
roll
being
it?
over there.
Okay, sounds. I'm just making sure I do. Okay. Vezot haTorah asher sam Moshe benu bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai veyad Moshe. Yanai nai 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 yanai nai 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 yanai nai yanai nai yanai nai nai yanai nai nai yanai nai 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 yanai nai 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 yanai nai 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 yanai nai 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 yanai nai nai. page 256. Thank you, Bubby. Ki lekach tov natati lechem, Torati al ta'azovu. Eitz chaim hi lama chazikim ba, vetom cheha meushar, deracheha darhei noam, vechol netivoteha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashua Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. Thank you. Good Shabbos. Thank you. You may be seated. Yesterday, we received a visit from a young man, Eli, who is the son of a dear friend of ours that we know from when we lived in Austin, Texas. Eli was on a journey. Having graduated this spring from high school in Austin, he wanted to travel to different cities in America before returning home to start college at Texas A&M University. He listed the cities that he had already been to: New Orleans, Atlanta, DC, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and now New York. Several more days in New York, then on to Boston, Niagara Falls, Chicago, Salt Lake City, Sacramento, San Francisco, and LA before heading back to Austin. Eli came to us from his hostel on the Upper West Side and joined us for dinner last night. I asked him what was the high point of the journey. Meeting new people, he said, seeing different cultures, and seeing all of the different natural beauties of the different places he went to. I asked him the low point of the journey. He said, getting stuck on the train alone for 2.5 hours outside Atlanta while the broken train tracks were getting fixed. In this week's Torah portion, Matot Maseh, we hear about the Israelites' journey from Egypt all the way to the gates of the Promised Land. After reminding us that the journey started with the Exodus, we learn the Israelites set out from Ramses and camped at Sukkot. They set out from Sukkot and they camped at Etam at the edge of the wilderness. They set out from Etam and turned towards Pi HaCherot, and so on. A list of 42 places without many details. And yet, one imagines that each place had its own story. Each place was its own stage. Like Eli's journey, the Israelites' journey must have had its highs and lows, its ups and downs. I invited you before to think about what was your last journey. I often think about two that I took right before the pandemic. In January of 2020, I traveled to Israel with a group of rabbis and educators. In February of 2020, I traveled to Minnesota and Iowa to visit each of my parents. I am so thankful that both of those important journeys happened before everything shut down. And then, starting March of 2020 and for many months afterwards, my main journey was from my bedroom to the bathroom, to the kitchen, to the dining room, to the kitchen, to the bathroom, to the bedroom, and back again. Even when my journey shrank and became minuscule, even then though, each part came to have its own feeling, its own resonance. Journeys can be physical. but they can occur in other ways as well. The journey of one's career, the journey of our relationships, our spiritual or Jewish journeys, the journey of life from birth to death. And reflecting on this week's Torah portion, I was inspired by Rabbi Shefa Gold, who wrote, "We recount the itinerary of our wanderings in this parsha in order to receive the lessons and blessings of each stage of our journey. As we become aware of the significance of each stage, we can receive its benefit. It is our awareness and our appreciation of each of these stages that transforms our story into a blessing. We learn from Maseh that every stage is essential to the journey." We are in a new stage of our journey here at West End Temple. There is a new rabbi. She's here somewhere. There is about to be a new student cantor, Gabriel. We are starting to reopen after the pandemic. This new stage brings excitement and hope. Who will come through our doors? What gifts will they bring? What will it be like to try X? How will it go to try Y? We learned new ways of being a community during the pandemic, and now we have the opportunity to bring the best of those things and carry them forward. But also, this new stage brings uncertainty and loss. We might be thinking, I miss the way that X used to be done. I remember when things were like Y. I am sad that we no longer have Z. There might be things that we don't like about this new stage, or that are hard about this new stage, or that we are simply not used to. And so, how to get through the challenges of our journey? Several years ago, the journalist Bruce Feiler undertook a journey to hike around to all of the places in the Torah. Some of the locations are known exactly. For example, the story in Genesis of the Garden of Eden mentions the rivers of the Tigris and the Euphrates by name. But some of the locations are disputed. Feiler notes that scientists have offered 22 different candidates for the real Mount Sinai, located everywhere from Egypt to the Sinai, from Israel to Saudi Arabia. He goes on to say, though, that perhaps the Torah's purpose is not for us to know the actual location of Mount Sinai. He writes, maybe the Bible doesn't want us to know. Maybe it keeps the location unclear on purpose. Maybe it wants this important event to occur in an unknown place, in a place open to all, in a space that is holy to everyone. Maybe it wants Mount Sinai to be a place that we always dream of, but never find. Feiler teaches us that journeys can be just as much about what the journeyer goes through internally as it is about the external locations of the stops. He reminds us Sinai is for each of us to find, and that search is a holy one. Stay in the mystery. Stay in the not knowing. Stay in the question, and let that be our teacher. Stay in the dream, and let that be our guide. The poet Judy Brown lets the ocean be our teacher. She writes, "There is a trough in the waves, a low spot where horizon disappears and only sky and water are our company. And there we lose our way unless we rest, knowing the wave will bring us to its crest again. There we may drown if we let fear hold us in its grip and shake us side to side and leave us flailing, torn, disoriented. But if we rest there in the trough, in silence, being in the low part of the wave, keeping our energy and noticing the shape of things, the flow, then time alone will bring us to another place where we can see horizon, see land again, regain our sense of where we are and where we need to swim. In closing, our friend Eli is still here in New York. I think today he was trying to see some of the museums and he wanted to go to Coney Island. May he enjoy the sights and the sounds. I know, two very different locations. And the good times along the way. And the challenges, like the broken train tracks, when they come his way, may he take them with patience, with compassion for himself and others, and with an open heart, able to receive the lessons that may be learned. So too, as each of us makes our way through our own journeys, individually and as a temple community, may we be blessed with patience, compassion, and an open heart. Let us celebrate the present with its joys and its challenges, so that together we may continue our journey towards a bright and promising future. Keni hi ratzon. We rise now for Aleinu on page 282.
I just need some tea. Hold on a minute. Okay. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'atek g'dola l'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo asam chalkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kech Hamonam v'anachnu korhim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malkei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. There we go. Maybe seated. Thank you. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be and oh to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, and your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us within the past 30 days. Lewis Allen, beloved husband of Jerry Allen, Sheldon Levine, and Ann Williams. And I want to just mention that I've been speaking with Jerry this week, and her husband passed this past Saturday, and there is no funeral or memorial as per his wishes. So this is our way of remembering him as a community, and these were their wishes. So I know it's very meaningful to her that we are saying Kaddish tonight. We draw now into our hearts those who died at this season
in years past. Alvin Brandeis, Alexandra DuBois Casillo, Wayne Forrest, Teresa Frank, Stanley Gertler, Jacob Goldberg, Hyman Hellman, Ruth Kahn, Madeline Klein, Harry Lembeck, Philip Levine, Isaac Marks, Lena Nagel, Louis Nassau, Anna Newman, Tessie Bruckmeyer, Rob Vogel, Harold R. Roberts, Irving Schiffer, Henry Spitz, Samuel Stryker, Bess Sylvain, James Umlas, Eric Vorsanger, Elsie Weinstein, Dr. Jacob Nathaniel Weiss, and George Zwern. Are there any other yard sites that we would like to share at this time? If it is your custom, please rise. On page 294, we say the Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alama divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zaman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shmei dekudasha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alama v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and all Israel, and comfort to all of the bereaved among us. And we say together, amen.
Amen.
You may be seated, and I think Sherry has some announcements.
Oh, shit.
I don't know if I have a paper. I know we have Torah study.
Torah study tomorrow morning, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Torah study tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. What else do we have? We have the anniversary of my friends, Dan and Roy, and they have made a beautiful finish for all of you to enjoy. And do you have anything?
I have one thing, which is that the observance of Tisha B'Av is next Saturday. Tisha B'Av is the 9th of Av, and during that observance, we commemorate the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. So we're going to gather here Saturday night at 7:30 to observe Tisha B'Av. It is a fast day, so unfortunately, we're not serving any food or drink, but we will have lamentations aplenty, and we will get in that mood of commemorating destruction and then also thinking about how to rebuild. So we close now with MiPL on page 328.
We think specifically of Marshall Sorgan when we sing MiPL because it is his favorite song, and he is very happy whenever we sing it. So we're thinking of you, Marshall. What's 328?
328.
There we go.
Want me to start?
No, I'm just getting it up. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
MiPL. Oh, is that too high for you?
A little high, it's okay though.
MiPL,
MiPL, Yevorach Kol Yisrael. MiPL, MiPL, Yevorach Kol Yisrael. Ein adir k'Adonai, ve'ein baruch k'vein Amram. Ein gedola k'Torah, ve'ein darshaneha k'Yisrael. MiPL, MiPL, Yevorach Kol Yisrael. MiPL, MiPL, Yevorach Kol Yisrael. Ein hador k'Adonai, ve'ein baruch Amram, Ein Zaka Katorah, Ve'ein Chachamecha Yisrael, Mipiel, Mipiel, Yevorach Kol Yisrael, Mipiel, Mipiel, Yevorach Kol Yisrael, Ein Tahor K'Adonai, Ve'ein Yachi K'Ve'ein Amram, Ein Kabira K'Torah, Ve'ein Lamdaneha K'Yisrael, Mipiel, Mipiel, Yevorach Kol Yisrael, Mipiel, Mipiel, Yevorach Kol Yisrael, Ein Podeh Adonai, Ve'ein Tzadik Ve'ein Amram, Ein Kedosha K'Torah, Ve'ein Tomecheha K'Yisrael, Mipiel, Mipiel, Yevorach Kol Yisrael, Mipiel, Mipiel, Yevorach Kol Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you to Pam and Lloyd for doing our Kiddush. We're going to step outside for Kiddush, for wine and challah and sweets. So here we go. Thank you to Liv.